Stop. This is not a coincidence. If you're hearing this right now, it's because something greater is happening in your life. But let me warn you, what I'm about to reveal may change everything. Have you ever felt like you were meant for something more but couldn't explain why? Like there's a divine pull on your life, yet obstacles, doubts, and fears keep holding you back? If you've ever questioned your purpose, pay close attention, because this message is for you. What if I told you that God has been speaking to you all along? That your setbacks weren't random but a setup for something bigger? The signs have been there, but have you been listening? Before we go any further, I need you to take a step of faith right now. Comment "I am chosen" below. This is not just a statement. This is a declaration. When you speak it, you activate it. And trust me, what happens next will confirm everything you've been feeling deep inside. Stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal is the reason behind your struggles, your restlessness, and the battles you've been facing. And once you hear this, you'll never see your life the same way again. Have you ever felt different? Like you never quite fit in, as if there was something unique about you that you couldn't explain? Let me tell you something, that feeling is real. You weren't meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out. And that's because you are chosen. Think about this. What if every challenge you've faced was actually a confirmation, not a setback? What if the very things that made you feel out of place were signs that you were meant for something greater? Chosen ones don't walk an easy path, because their purpose is bigger than the ordinary. Moses doubted his ability to lead. Esther feared speaking up. David was overlooked. But God chose them anyway. And just like them, you've been called for something divine. But here's the truth. Many chosen ones never step into their destiny because they hesitate. They wait for a sign, a perfect moment. But the moment is now. So what will you do? Will you keep waiting for permission, or will you embrace the truth that has been chasing you all along? Because the moment you accept your chosenness, everything changes. Your perspective, your strength, your entire life. And trust me, this is just the beginning. What's stopping you from stepping into your divine calling? Is it fear? Fear of what people might say? Fear of rejection? Fear of failure? Let me tell you something, fear is the biggest liar you will ever meet. It will whisper in your ear, telling you that you're not ready, that you're not good enough, that others will judge you. But here's the truth, if God called you, and no opinion can cancel that. Think about Jesus. He was doubted, ridiculed, and mocked, even by those closest to him. But did that stop him? Absolutely not. And if Jesus himself faced opposition, what makes you think you won't? Resistance is proof of your purpose. If people are doubting you, if obstacles are rising, if the enemy is trying to silence you, that only means your calling is bigger than you think. But here's what you must understand. Your destiny is greater than their opinions. Some people will misunderstand you. Some will doubt you. But none of that changes the fact that you are chosen. God doesn't need their approval to bless you. So why are you waiting for it? Now, I want you to make a decision. Will you let fear control your life, or will you walk in faith? Because the moment you choose to stop worrying about what others think, you set yourself free. And when you do that, doors will start opening, opportunities will arise, and you'll step into a life you never imagined possible. So tell me, what's stopping you now? Let me ask you something. Do you realize the power that has been placed inside of you? Or are you still walking through life like a beggar instead of a warrior? Because many chosen ones live small when they were meant to reign. But here's the truth, God never intended for you to be weak. He gave you a divine authority that can shift atmospheres, break chains, and move mountains. Think about this. A king does not wait for permission to wear his crown. A lion does not ask to be feared. And you do not need validation to walk in the power that God has already given you. The enemy wants you to believe you are helpless, but you are already equipped. The question is, will you use what has been placed inside you? Walking in divine authority means refusing to shrink back. It means speaking life when others speak doubt, standing firm when others waver, stepping boldly into rooms where fear told you not to go. Because the moment you step into your power, the atmosphere shifts. The weight of heaven moves with you. And everything that once stood in your way must bow to the authority inside of you. So here's your challenge. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop questioning whether you are ready. You are. The only thing left to do is walk in it. And when you do, you will see doors open, opportunities align, and miracles unfold before your very eyes. But it all starts with one decision. Will you claim your authority, or will you leave it on the table? Do you realize that your story is not just about you? Every battle you've fought, every lesson you've learned, every time you thought about giving up but didn't, it was never just for you. Someone right now is praying for a sign that transformation is possible. And your story might be the answer to their prayer. Think about the moments in your life when you felt lost. Didn't someone's testimony inspire you to keep going? Maybe it was something they said, something they survived, something they overcame. Now, it's your turn to be that person for someone else. Your scars carry wisdom. Your victories carry proof. And when you speak boldly about what God has done in your life, you don't just affirm your identity, you ignite faith in others. Look at the heroes of the Bible: David, Joseph, Esther. Their faith wasn't just personal, it transformed nations. And what did they all have in common? They refused to stay silent. They walked in their truth, and because of that, generations were changed. So what are you waiting for? The world needs to hear your story. Someone out there is waiting for the wisdom you carry. And when you choose to share, to speak, to inspire, you align yourself with God's plan in ways you never imagined. This is bigger than you. This is about transformation. The moment you own your story, you step into something greater. So, will you stay silent, or will you be the light someone desperately needs? Have you ever felt like the world is against you? Like every time you try to step forward, opposition rises? Let me tell you something. If you are facing resistance, it's because your calling is powerful. The enemy does not attack those who are no threat. But here's what you must remember: when God chooses you, He also protects you. Look at Daniel. Thrown into the lion's den, yet untouched. Look at Moses. Faced the Red Sea, yet walked through on dry ground. Look at David. A boy with a slingshot, yet victorious over a giant. What do all these stories have in common? God's protection was already in place before the battle even began. And the same God that covered them is covering you. But here's the key: protection does not mean the absence of battle. It means the battle has already been won. You will face challenges. You will be tested. But no criticism, no rejection, no enemy can stop what God has set in motion. Fear may try to paralyze you, but faith will always move you forward. So, let me ask you, are you walking in the confidence of someone who is protected? Or are you still acting like you're fighting alone? Because the safest place you can ever be is within the will of God. And when He fights for you, victory is inevitable. The only thing left for you to do is trust and step forward. Because the road ahead has already been cleared. Fear is a liar. It tells you that you're not ready, that you're not strong enough, that you will fail. But let me tell you the truth: fear only has power if you believe it. The moment you stop listening, it loses control over your life. Think about Peter walking on water. As long as he kept his eyes on Jesus, he did the impossible. But the moment he focused on the storm, he began to sink. What? Because fear takes root when we focus on the problem instead of the one who has already solved it. Your storm is not bigger than your calling. Your fear is not greater than God's plan. But you have to decide where you put your focus. Look back at your life. How many times has fear held you back? How many opportunities have you missed? How many blessings have you delayed because you let doubt control your decisions? But today that stops. Because you are chosen, and chosen ones do not live in fear. Fear will come, but it does not get to stay. Your faith is stronger. Your calling is bigger. Your purpose is unstoppable. So here's my challenge to you. Name your fear right now. Speak it out. And then declare this: my purpose is greater than my fear. Say it. Believe it. Walk in it. Because the moment you stop bowing to fear, you step into the power that was meant for you all along. And that power will change everything. There is power in your words. What you declare, you activate. What you speak over your life, you bring into existence. That's why silence is dangerous. Because if you don't declare who you are, the world will try to define you instead. Think about this. When Jesus called His disciples, they didn't follow Him in secret. Their decision was public, bold, undeniable. And that's when their transformation began. They stepped out of the shadows and into their calling. And the moment they did, miracles followed. What if your next breakthrough is waiting on you to speak your truth? But here's the thing: public declaration doesn't just invite blessings. It invites opposition. Some will doubt you. Some will question you. But that is proof that you are on the right path. Because when you step into your calling, you disrupt the status quo. You become a light in a world that prefers darkness. And that is why you must keep speaking. So here's your next move: say it, declare it, own it. Say out loud, I am chosen. I am walking in my divine purpose. The moment you declare it, something shifts. Doors open. Fear weakens. And heaven responds. Now tell me, are you ready to own your calling, or will you stay silent? Let's be honest, not everyone will believe in you. Some will doubt you. Some will mock you. Some will even try to stop you. But here's what they don't realize. When God calls you, no human opinion can cancel His plan. Look at Joseph. His own brothers threw him into a pit, convinced that his dreams would never come true. But what they didn't know was that God was using their betrayal as a setup for his elevation. Joseph went from being rejected to ruling a kingdom. And the same God who lifted him will lift you. But here's the key: you don't have to prove anything to anyone. Your success, your transformation, and the undeniable favor of God on your life will speak for itself. You don't have to fight back. You don't have to explain yourself. Just keep walking in obedience and watch how God moves on your behalf. So, let me ask you, are you going to let the doubts of others hold you back, or will you let God prove them wrong? Because the moment you stop seeking approval and start walking in your divine assignment, even those who doubted you will have no choice but to acknowledge that you were chosen all along. Watch what happens next. Enough waiting. Enough overthinking. Enough delaying your destiny. You've been given the signs. You felt the call deep inside. And now there's only one thing left to do, ACT. Because purpose is not something you wait for, it's something you step into. Think of Noah. God told him to build the ark before the storm came. If he had waited for the perfect moment, he would have missed his divine assignment. The same applies to you. You don't need all the answers. You don't need everything to be just right. You just need to take the first step. Because when you move in faith, God moves with you. What has God been telling you to do? Start that project? Speak your truth? Step into leadership? Whatever it is, this is your confirmation. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for approval. Your future is waiting for you, but it requires action. And the longer you delay, the more opportunities you let slip away. So here's your challenge. Do something today that aligns with your purpose. Write it down. Declare it out loud. Take action. Because when you finally move, heaven will respond. Doors will open. Miracles will unfold. But it all begins with one decision. Will you stay where you are, or will you step boldly into the life you were created for? The next chapter of your destiny is waiting. Listen to me carefully. This is not just another message. This is a moment of awakening. This is the very thing your soul has been waiting for. Because right now, something is shifting in the spiritual realm. You feel it, don't you? That deep knowing, that stirring inside? That's not random. That is God speaking to you. You have a choice to make. You can either stay where you are, stuck in doubt, fear, and hesitation, or you can decide right now that this is the moment everything changes. There will never be a more perfect time. The call has already been placed. The path has already been laid. The only thing missing is your decision. Imagine standing at the edge of a great ocean. Behind you is everything familiar, your past, your comfort zone, your limitations. But in front of you? An ocean of limitless possibilities, divine power, and supernatural breakthroughs. The only way forward is to step into the unknown. And here's the truth, the moment you take that step, you won't sink. You will rise. So, let me ask you, are you going to walk away from this moment unchanged? Or will you declare, I am chosen, and step into the life that was meant for you? This is your defining moment. What you do next will determine everything. The time to act is now. And heaven is watching. You were never meant to live an ordinary life. You were chosen, called, and set apart for something greater. But now you have to decide. Will you embrace it, or will you walk away from this moment unchanged? You've heard the truth. You felt it in your soul. Now there are only two paths. Step forward in faith or remain where you are. But remember this, God never forces anyone. He calls, but you must answer. The choice is yours. So here's what I want you to do. Declare it now. Comment below, I am chosen. Don't just listen, speak it. Own it. This is not just a video, it's an activation. And the moment you declare it, something in your spirit will shift. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is just the beginning of your transformation. The journey continues, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. You were born for this. The time is now. Will you step into it?